Hey guys, so sorry it's taken me so long to get this video done. As most of you know, if you have kids anyway, during this pandemic, a lot of us are having to homeschool. So I thought I was going to have a bit more free time the past week to get this video done, and unfortunately I did not. So it took me a while to get to it. So anyway, I'm going to jump right in, but a couple of things I wanted to go over with you are my kids are home today and I have 3 dogs, so I'm sure at some point there will be an interruption in this video. I'm trying really hard not to let that happen, but I might have to, kind of splice the video a little bit to cut out any interruptions I might have. And secondly, I am not and will never proclaim to be a Photoshop wizard. So if you are looking for someone who knows the ins and outs of Photoshop, who is a technical Photoshop wizard, or even a photography wizard, that is not me. I take images for fun. I do videos for fun. I am not here to proclaim to be something I'm not. So 99.9% of you out there probably know Photoshop better than I do technically. So if you have any, thing you want to say to me, like, hey, you could do this better or whatever, please feel free to let me know. Also, I'm notoriously bad with shortcuts. So yeah, I don't use those a lot. And you guys probably know all the shortcuts. So with that being said, if you're here to gain some expertise on Photoshop, I'm not your girl, but you can go to Flearn. They are amazing. And there are so many YouTube videos where the people are like Photoshop geniuses. And I'm more just a mom showing you how to edit a cool little painterly image of your kid or whoever it may be. So with that being said, let's go. And also, I'm talking a lot in this intro, but I don't typically go into a lot of detail or stories when I'm editing. I just want to get the image, kind of give you like the basics of what I do, and then you can just transfer that to what you do. So I don't do a lot of details. I'm not being precise and exact. If you're looking for that, I think there's lots of people that sell workshops or editing videos, and they probably go into that a lot better than I would. So anyway, with that being said, this is an image I took of my daughter in our basement. It was at night, so it was dark, but I did have a giant octobox to camera right. I think it's like a 4-foot wide octobox. I haven't done photography in a while, so I don't know the exact size of it. And then also, I think I had my Flashpoint monolight that I used. And I wasn't particular about settings with this one. I think this was one of the first images I took, and it just looked good, so I just went with it. Otherwise, I would, go into the settings that I used, but honestly, I don't think I was really thinking about it at the time. So the settings on my camera anyway. So with that being said, let's just jump right in and yeah, we'll just mess around with it and have fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is just mess around with the white balance. I select shade because I liked how that looked. And I'm trying not to say a lot or like. I tend to do that, and I'm trying to avoid that in these videos. But anyway, I'm just going to mess around with the exposure a bit and see if I want to bring it up a little. And I think I will just bring it up to 0.25. The highlights I'm going to bring down. I just mess around. There's no like, excuse me. There's no technical reason behind this for me. I just mess around with it until I feel that I like what I'm doing. So I'll bring the highlights down just a bit. Obviously her dress is white, so if I drag it up too far, it's really gonna bring those highlights, like blow them out quite a bit. So I just mess around with it. I typically bring them down, and then I'll mess around with the shadows and the black slider just kind of have fun with that. So yeah, as you can see, I pushed these pretty far to the edge here for no technical reason other than I just really liked how this looked. And then I'm going to go ahead and just open this in Photoshop. Obviously, if I were doing an image for someone, I would, you know, do sharpening and noise reduction, all of that, but I'm just showing you the basics of what I do here. So let's just go ahead and open this in Photoshop. And my Photoshop's been running really, really slow, so I'm hoping that it does not do that today. Otherwise, I'll have to redo this video. Okay, so as you can see here, I want to do some dodging and burning first. I like to just start off with that because it kind of sets the mood for the photo and where I want to go with it. So there's lots of ways you can do this. One way I do it is through curves. So you can go to layer, new adjustment layer, curves. Like I said, I'm sure there's a shortcut for that, but I'm notoriously bad with knowing those. And I'm going to just bring this center portion of the RGB channel up right about there. And then on this white layer mask, I am going to hit Command I on my Mac, and that will turn this layer mask black. Basically, it's hiding the curve that I just did. So I can bring forward only the parts that I want to. Over here are these two boxes. If I hit D, it turns them to black and white. I'm gonna make sure this top box here is white because I'm going to be painting over the black. So the white is going to reveal what is hidden beneath this black layer, basically. So I'm gonna zoom in. Yeah, I guess I could hit Command plus. And I'm just going to go in with a soft white brush. And I am going to just go over and highlight these natural highlighted areas, like so. And then you'll have to adjust the size of your brush to really get in and work on those smaller areas. I'm just gonna go over her lips here. So pretty much any naturally highlighted area on her face is where I'm going to paint these highlights on. And then obviously I would do this on all of her skin right now. So just kind of find those highlighted areas. Again, I'm not going to go into detail with this. There's no point in me wasting a bunch of time trying to be detailed and accurate, but basically that's what you're gonna do. You're just gonna go through, and any areas that are highlighted, you are going to paint this lighter curve color. I'm going to do that through her dress. Now, obviously, you may want to lower the opacity of this brush for certain parts of the image or increase it. Right now, I'm going to lower it on her dress just because it's a little bit darker than her skin. And I would basically just go through and highlight all of these areas. Again, I'm not going to spend a ton of time doing a detailed version of this, but you get the idea. So basically I would just go through and highlight these various lighter spots. Anyway, we're doing a quick one here. And then I'm going to just zoom out on the image, and I would get an overall feel for how I like the dodging and burning. I would probably go in here even and do some of this chair. You know, I would zoom in and get pretty accurate with it, but for now, again, I'm just showing you the basics. So I would just go in here, any highlighted spots, I would just accentuate those like so. And then I would go up and do her hair, some of these highlighted parts of her hair in here. So you get the picture. That's basically what you're doing with dodging and burning. I would also go in and just highlight some of the spots on the bouquet. Again, I am not going to get super accurate and detailed. I'm just trying to give you an overall view, which feels weird because I'm kind of doing this sloppily. And then to, you know, highlight those shadowed areas or accentuate those, I would go into layer, new adjustment layer, curves, and I would bring down the center of the RGB channels. So I'm going to pull it down quite a bit. And then I am going to hit Command I and turn this, this layer. I'm going to basically, again, hide it with the black layer mask, and then take my white brush and accentuate the more shadowed areas. So just go over eyebrows, darker areas of the face, and whoa. Just kind of go in here and get those darker spots. Again, this is just a quick rundown to show you how I do it. I don't know about you. I mean, I could do like super accurate videos, but I just don't have time to sit and watch a video for an hour and watch the person do the same thing to all these different parts of the image. So I kind of want to just get to like, what are you doing? Give me the basics and I can go from there. And so I'll just go in, and my opacity for this one is set at 51. I'm going to bring it up just a little more for the dress area. And just go down, and as you can see, I would just basically accentuate the shadowed areas like so. And my Photoshop is getting glitchy again, so hopefully it doesn't screw up this video too much. And actually I think that's just a little too dark down there, so I'm going to undo that brush tool and bring it down in opacity just a little bit. And just kind of hit these spots. Yeah, very inaccurate, but you get the idea. And then I'm just gonna go in here and accentuate shadows. I like saying that word, accentuate. Accentuate the different shadows on the chair. And I would go in here and do some stuff as well, but for the sake of time, we're just not. And then I would also go over here and just kind of accentuate these shadows. And then I would go through, I mean, this image would take a really long time. And so I just do these more for personal, you know, fun. But I would just go through and do the same thing on the bushes. So basically, if you can get an idea here, if I were to take these two off, you can kind of see the difference in the dodging and burning. Now, I like to go heavy-handed. I didn't go overly heavy-handed with this one, but I typically like to. I just feel like it gives it more of a painterly image. And then I'm going to just zoom in and just kind of work on the eyes a bit. I'm just gonna highlight them a little bit more. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just go to another curves layer. And again, that's layer, new adjustment layer, curves. And I will bring up the center of that RGB channel pretty significantly. And then again, I will hide it, this white layer mask, by hitting Command I. And that will cover, you know, the highlights there. And then I can just go into her eyes and just paint over this black layer mask with a white brush. And that will just highlight her eyes a little bit. And actually, I'm going to bring the opacity up on that brush to 100 and just kind of see if I like that. And I'm going to bring the opacity on the whole layer down just a tad to right about 63, so you can see the before and after. And I may adjust that when I zoom out, because I notice, and maybe someone knows the technical reason for this, but when I zoom out, I can really tell if something's overdone. And then I'm going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, curves, and hit OK. And then I'm going to drag the center of the RGB channel down pretty significantly. And then again, oops, just double click on that, bring it down. And then I am going to, again, hit Command I on my Mac, hide that layer, and then take my white brush. And I'm just going to darken her lashes, the edges of the eye, her eyebrows. You know, just do what you feel you want to do with that, and then just go from there. Darken it. It's just a slight darkening, as you can see. And then my Photoshop is going very slow. There we go. And typically also, if I were doing this image for, you know, something other than a video and I wanted to take lots of time, I would go in here and get rid of those hair strands. So one way I would do that, and I'm sure you guys know like a million better ways, but I would hit background and then layer, duplicate, layer. And I would work on, sorry guys, my Photoshop has been just so slow lately. It's out of control. I would just go up here to the top of the image where her hair is. And on this duplicated background layer, I would make sure that these boxes are white and black. Then I would hit my clone stamp tool, and I would basically just go in and just kind of remove some of those stray hairs. You kind of want to be careful with not making it too perfect. Otherwise, you know, like right here, you can kind of tell there's something going on, but I would just go in however you remove hair. Do your thing and get rid of those strays. Again, I'm just doing a quick breakdown here. I would remove the hairs like on her face. Yeah, just go in and clean up however you've learned to do that or choose to do that. You know what, if you have any good tips, I really am not a fan of removing hair, so I don't know if you guys have good tips, but you could go in and clean up right here. Just whatever you feel you need to get rid of to make the image a better image overall. So I would remove the hair from here. I would remove the hair on her face. I would remove the hair between here. I would fix up any blemishes. So obviously I'm not going to do that with this video, but so as you can see, let's just group all of these layers together so you can kind of get a feel for, and then let's group these layers. Let's call it group 1. So you can kind of get a feel for that, how it just looks slightly different. You can see the dodging and burning. And then I'm going to just crop it and just kind of even it out a bit. Now, there is this really great software that I use for a lot of my images, and it is called Noiseware, or Portraiture, and Noiseware is awesome too. But hold on, let me just get this cropped here. Slow. Portraiture is really great. It adds a lot of the fine art images these days have that very painterly kind of like very smooth skin look to them, and that does a really great job of just doing it straight out of the gate. So if you don't have that, you can always go in with a smudge brush and just kind of soften everything out, or you know, whatever way you do it to soften skin. But with Portraiture, I literally duplicate the background, and then I go to Filter, Imagenomic, Portraiture, and then you can adjust how much smoothing you want done on the image at the time. So I'm just going to go for normal smoothing and hit OK. And this always takes a bit to run. But it just kind of smooths it out a little bit. And let me bring that in, zoom it in. So it just kind of smooths it out. You can barely tell. Here, I need to move it up here. You can barely tell the difference when you lower the opacity a little bit. It's just slight. Just kind of gives it more of that blended feel, if that makes sense. And actually what I should have done is, because I duplicated this layer and brought it to the top so you could see the effect of it, is I should have worked on her hair and everything before. Or actually, let me try this. I don't know if this is possible. I just dragged it into that group. I wonder if I can bring it. Guys, I've never done this before. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to drag this all the way to the bottom and see what happens. Yeah, it's still showing her hair. So I think the fix to that would just be to work on this portraiture layer. What I typically do is after I've done the image, I've saved the PSD, I will flatten it and then run portraiture, so it runs it on everything that's already done. But I did it differently and I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, so that just kind of gives it that softer, more painterly feel. And then I am going to just kind of mess around with the gradients, just kind of have fun with that. So let's go to layer, new adjustment layer. We'll do, let's do a gradient. Actually, let's go to new fill layer gradient. And I'm just gonna hit OK and click on the gradient slider. I'm gonna go to this first little box and just pick a color from the image. So you can just mess around finding colors. We'll do like a yellow here and hit OK. And then I'm gonna go to this side over here to the right. And again, just mess around with different, I like to use the eyedropper tool and just mess around with different colors in the image. And then hit OK. And then I am going to actually move this gradient all the way to the top. There we go. I'm going to actually bring it out of the group for now. And obviously I don't want this, so I'm just going to bring the opacity of that gradient down slightly. You can even mess around with the modes, and that will do different things with the gradient, but I'm going to keep it on the normal mode and then just bring the opacity down. And I think what I might do with this is click on this white layer mask, take a black brush, so I'm going to make sure this top box is black, and then I'm just going to paint off, since this is a white layer mask and I'm using a black brush, I'm just going to paint off some of this in the center and around her face and over these flowers. Just very lightly kind of move that around. Just ever so gently over parts of the image. Not too much, but just a little. Very gently. And I'm just gonna very smoothly like blend this in just ever so slightly. Just with a very light hand. And then another cool thing you can do is you can take this Marquee tool. I'm going to take the elliptical one and I'm just going to draw it around her. And I am going to actually, oops, let me try that again. I'm going to draw this around her, and then I'm going to right click and hit feather. I'm going to feather it to around 400. Now I don't want her to be affected by what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go to select inverse. And now, as you can see, the marching ants are on the outside, and whatever is like inside this circle will not be affected. And I feathered it pretty high to 400. So I'm just going to go to new adjustment layer. I'm going to mess around with the curves and just bring those down slightly. So as you can see, it just kind of darkened around the edges there. Another really cool thing, if you do not have textures that you can use, which it's very easy to photograph wood, concrete, rocks, whatever, and create your own textures. But what you can do is you can go to layer, you can go to new fill layer and pattern and click on that. And then there's all sorts of textures in these little boxes. So like if you click this little settings, it looks like, like a settings icon. I don't know what you would call it, but you can basically go through all of these different textures. For example, here's erodible textures. You can mess around with these and they're really fun. And you can change the scale of the texture. See how I'm making that a little bit larger. There's so many just really cool ones. So I'm going to hit OK on that. And then you just change the mode. So you can, do like soft light, and it kind of adds that texture to the image. You can paint the texture off of your subject. Again, with the black brush, you can remove whatever you just did on the white layer mask. Yeah, it's just fun. You can mess around with those various textures and just kind of play around with them. And then I'm just gonna lower the texture a bit to around, let's do 50. Another really cool thing that you can do to your fine art images is you can go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Gradient. I have to see if I can remember how to do this actually, because it's been quite a while. But I think it's, I want to say it's radial, but I'm not sure. Yes, I think it is. Okay, so hit reverse once you select radial or radial. I think I say that wrong. I know I say that wrong. And then click on this left box here and just select a color. You know, whatever you want to work with, what's ever in your image. And actually, I'm not going to do reverse. Sorry about that. You can drag that up into the corner and you can really just, you can mess with the angle of it. See how it just kind of changes the size of that sun ray, the scale. It's really cool what you can do with this. And then I'm just going to lower the opacity of that a little bit. So anyway, guys, I hope this gave you some ideas. Again, I did not go into some detailed, crazy video, but I just hope that this helps you a bit. Another thing you can do is with, you know, if you have like different colors, you can go to like a new layer, for example, and hit soft light as your mode. And then you can take the eyedropper tool, click it on a color in the image, and then you can just kind of darken that image or that color in the image. So you can go through and really highlight certain colors. I typically do that with like hair, clothing. So layer, new layer. Again, go to mode soft light, and then just eyedropper tool the area you want to paint. And you can go in and just really kind of bring that contrast. Now, obviously, I'm not going to keep her hair like that, but what I would do is just go through and paint over her hair very nicely and evenly, and then I would just lower the opacity of that. So it just gives it a nice little, I guess you could say like contrast. I would do the same with the chair, so you can just see a little bit of the contrast there. But anyway, I think what I might do too is I kind of want to darken this a little bit more down here. So I'm going to take my lasso tool and just draw a quick little section here. And then I'm going to right click feather. Again, probably keep it around 400. I want to only affect what's inside of this. So I'm not going to go to select inverse. I'm just going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, curves, and I'm going to go to the center and just drag that down slightly, like so. Anyway, just to kind of show you guys the before, I'm going to group all of these together. Let me get over here, call it group 2 and group 1. So here, I should have just grouped them all. Oh, I don't know how to do it with the two groups here, but anyway, you can see before, after. So that's one way you can do a fine art image. There's so much you can do with these. I seriously just think mess around with it. Like I could go into here and go to layer, new fill layer, solid color, go to soft light, click on like a warm tone like this, and I could just lower the opacity or lower the fill and just create. I mean, you really just can go with it and just create so many cool artistic images. So you could go from lighter to darker. It just really is fun to play around with. In fact, I think I'm going to actually keep that color fill layer on there and just kind of mess around with the colors here. I think I'm going to go with the dark brown and then just lower that opacity a little bit. Also, you can go in here and go to your color balance layer, and you can go to, like, for example, your midtones. You can adjust those. So I can bring that down and, you know, just play with the color. I think I'm going to add, actually, like, I kind of like that color right there. You can go to your highlights and do the same thing. Oh, that's kind of pretty. I actually kind of like that green tone. You can go in here like so, just mess around. I mean, the whole thing is like, have fun with it. You know, that's the great thing about fine art images. I actually kind of like that. I think I might go with that. And then, yeah, I just totally changed it from what I was going to originally do. But yeah, I like that actually a lot better. So you just go in, have fun with it. And, you know, you can really just kind of be creative. Again, I didn't go into full detail, but, and I was not like precise with how I edited, but I just wanted to give you some quick tools and kind of show you, what you can do to make a fine art image. So again, let's just start from the beginning here. Everything's off, everything's on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to post more. Obviously, these are weird times, and with kids home, it's a lot different. So I don't know how much time I have to do stuff, but I'll try to post these as regularly as I can. So like and subscribe if you like these videos, and I will try to do more of them. Again, I am not a Photoshop wizard, so keep that in mind when you watch these, but I hope you enjoyed them anyway, and have a great rest of your day, and stay safe out there because this coronavirus is on the rise, which stinks, but have a great rest of your day.